All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sizzy Talk. We have a very, very special guest today. Mr. Nick, will you please tell us more about your wonderful self? We're so excited to have you.
Thanks, Claire. I'm really excited to be here. I'm Nicolas Kovacich. I'm currently a marketing intern at Sizigi and a student, a sophomore at Duke Kunshan University, which is a joint venture university between Duke University, the one in North Carolina, and Wuhan University, a good university in China. So currently, I'm not in my university, unfortunately. I'm in Rome. I'm studying online. I'm continuing to study online because I can't go back to China. And then I'm in the meanwhile I'm working with CCG. Really excited about this experience. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I
Yeah,
speak four
you
languages.
four
That's
languages?
another. Yeah, I do. I speak Spanish, Italian, English, and Chinese fluently. And I'm studying French and Russian, but slowly I'll
I
get
mean,
there.
no, just another. That's amazing. Wow, you definitely have a lot of us beat. That's incredible. Well, that's so cool. I'm so glad that, you're still able to at least do school online and find a way for it to work for you. You
Yeah.
mentioned, being with Syzygy now, and what is your current career path? Like, where do you see yourself hopefully in the future?
Okay, so the fact that I speak, four language and especially Chinese, Chinese is what really contributed like probably the most in my life for the moment. Because I started studying Chinese when I went in high school for 5 years, and then I study it now. I live in China, and I always had this big connection with China. My mother studied Chinese; she studied it 40 years ago, so I follow both like her path sort of. And so what I would like to do in my life is being a sort of like point of contact between Western countries and China, maybe Italy and China especially,
Mhm.
in terms of like an economic like intermediate between Western companies and Chinese companies. And what I'm doing with CCG, so working in the marketing field, I really like it, and that could be something that I would like to do in the future. Still between China and the western part of the world, I would say.
That's huge. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. So I know that you've done a little bit of live speaking. I've seen some really awesome photos of you. Can you tell us what you got to speak on and who with and what about?
Okay, sure. Yeah. I guess that there are two main points about this. Um, During my high school, I participated to a competition, language and culture competition, Chinese language and culture competition called Chinese Bridge, and I won the national competition in Italy. So I was able to represent Italy in the international competition, which is a big deal in China. So it's just like streamed live everywhere. And yeah, so I participated to the international competition. I got third, which is, I mean, I was really happy about that.
It's
And
so
that
amazing.
competition is all about, yeah, it's all about like speaking live. And I had to do a show in Chinese, and the show was about Columbus, and I was Columbus, and the friend of mine, the other guy that participated with me, was a Chinese um, what explorer, like called Zheng He. It was really exciting things, and it was all about speaking live in general. And then after that, something that probably was, all those photos and stuff, where those photos come from is because in March 2019, I sent a letter to President Xi Jinping, China's president. I sent it on behalf of my school and all the students in my school, because he was coming to Italy for signing a Belt and Road Initiative in Italy. So I sent him this letter to thank him for all the opportunities, because my school was partly funded by Hanban, which is a Chinese institution. And he answered to my letter, which, I mean, in Italy was, yeah, important, but in China was a huge deal because he never answered to any. He only did it once in his life, answering to a student. And
Wow.
so it was his answer letter was published online in China. And just imagine all the interviews from all the Chinese media and that stuff. That's why that happened. Yeah.
That's a huge deal. Congrats. Oh my goodness. That's remarkable. Something also remarkable about you though is I've heard you started your own company at 16. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I did. I actually, when I was 15, it was pretty a common thing in Italy at the time here. I don't know if it's
Okay.
still like right now. No, I'm not starting a company, but it was common to like sell tickets for events. Just like we used to call them, like working in the public relations field, sort of.
Okay.
What I started by selling just tickets for events for the friends of mine that did events, older friends of mine, and then that was going good. I was good at doing it. Basically, I sold a lot of tickets, and once I got to 400 or 500 tickets sold per event, was mainly music events or exhibitions. Once I realized that this was going good, I just got another few friends of mine that were good at it too, and we said, why don't we start a company on our own? I was 16 at the time; they were 18 because I'm like, you're a minor at 16, so you can't open a company in Italy. But they were 18, so they opened first, and then I joined when I was 18. And yeah, so we organized lots of really cool events with, especially music events, concerts with famous singers, DJs, and around the world, and then exhibition. We did something for charity too. So that's really something that always going to be in my mind. My first, job, like my first, experience in this field.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's like some kids run lemonade stands, and then you're like, no, I'm going to run my own company at 16. That's awesome. Wow, you are so driven. So I guess that leads me to my next question, which is, what advice do you have for others who also want to start their own companies?
I guess that just go for it and do what you feel like doing. Like if you really like that thing and if you see especially that you're good at it, just don't like because I when I started my company, well, it was hard at the beginning, obviously, because I was good at selling tickets, but making creating events and stuff, it's not just about selling tickets, and that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. So especially the first event I did, I remember what, like 50 people came.
Mhm.
We expected for 300-400 and only 50 people came. So well, the first event was really hard because then you have to learn, and this is for every company, and every single field is like this. Once you get into the field, you have to learn all other things that maybe you didn't know before. But this doesn't have to discourage you. Like you still need the courage to start it, and then it's worth trying.
Yeah, that's great advice. What would you say was like your I did it moment? What was your favorite moment of doing that kind of work?
When for the first time we organized an event with a special guest, like a big one. Like he's called Jay Ardway, and he was at that time 56 in the ranking of top DJs in the world.
Wow.
And yeah, and the event was like completely sold out and went sold out in 2 days. I didn't even have to work. What I did before selling tickets, I stopped doing it because the event went incredibly. And yeah, and that was the moment in which I looked with my partner and said, "Oh, this is great. We did really good job here." And
Oh my
it was very exciting.
gosh. You've had so much success. That congratulations. That's amazing. So now you're with Sizigi, you're with us, and I know you mentioned to me you're just so excited. Can you tell us just a little bit of like what you hope to achieve during your time with the internship?
Yeah, so first, what I hope to achieve first is experience in the marketing field, because even though I started my public relations company, but there's marketing and marketing. There's obviously different stuff, and so I hope to learn first thing, and second thing I would say I'd like to open CCG to the Chinese market, because I feel there's lots of potential in the Chinese market, because especially from the side of Chinese people wanting to apply to Western companies, because CCG for the moment is in English and it's mostly based for Western companies, and even international students in China, and international all sort of like job applicants categories in China. I think there's that we have big potentials there, and then in general, like showing to the world CCG, because I really believe in the project and I really believe that we could change what we want to change, and so yeah, I'm really excited about it.
That's incredible. Yeah, I love the phrase, it's the resume of the new generation. It's things are changing and we're changing with them, and it's really
Exactly.
smart. Totally. So, you've had so much life experience already at such a young age. What other advice can you give our audience, when it comes to networking or, just putting yourself out there to like find a career? Like, what else can you share with us?
Okay, yeah. So I guess that I would say just like try to connect with people, because connecting with people is something that nowadays it's easier because we have social medias, but on another way is like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes we're like afraid of maybe connecting with people, just like talk. Like the last event I organized for CCG was with this really cool guy called Brian Chung. He's a senior product manager at General Motors, and I didn't know him before. I just sent him a text on LinkedIn, and he said, "Yeah, that seems great. Your company seems great, and what you want to do seems great. So I'll just come to the event." So
Wow.
that's literally it. Just get in contact with people, talk to people, and like, because you can learn from them, and they can learn from you too. They can see you. And even when I wrote the letter to President Xi Jinping, when my teacher said to me, "Why don't you write a letter to him?" Like the first thing I said, I just like start laughing. Like it's just wasted time. But then I thought, like, you never know. Maybe it's nothing is wasted. I'm just the worst that it could be. I just learned how to write a letter to the president of China. That's the worst. That's the worst
Casually,
situation.
right.
Actually. And at the end, incredibly worth. I don't know, like I couldn't imagine it. But so like, yes, just try, be brave, and because if you don't do it, at this time in which we have so many opportunities nowadays, and even like in this moment of in this difficult time, trying to get the best out of this difficult times, because it's not a meeting, like an event with a guy that came with Brian Chung,
Mhm.
would have been possible in normal times. He would be the fact that now we're using a lot of Zoom and all classes are online and people are used to having these events and meetings online, at
Mhm.
least give us, they give it on one side is, it takes away a lot of, that in-person feeling experience that we have. On the other side, it's really good because give us, new opportunities to meet with people. So yeah, just get in contact with people.
Yeah. And you've proven to do really good at that. So you're definitely right on track with that advice. Absolutely. Well, I know that we have so many people who would love to also ask you some awesome questions. So if anyone has any questions for Nick, go ahead and leave them in the comment section right now, and then he'll get to them in just a moment. While we wait for those comments to roll in, why don't you talk a little bit about, Sizigi is a company and we're in California and you're obviously not in California. How has that been to be working someplace else and remotely right now, which is so awesome because everyone's working remotely, but can you talk a little bit about that too?
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes not right now we feel like it's so normal, because we're doing everything remotely. But if you think about it, actually, it's incredible because I'm able to work with a company that, as you said, is based in California. I'm in Rome, but I study in Shanghai. So what I'm promoting the events in China.
Mhm.
That's incredible, and it's working incredibly. So I'm really happy about it. And that's
Mhm.
something, as I was saying, that's something we should really reflect on like how social media and how like the digitalization of our life in general is helping us in this field. and
Mhm.
and and yeah, so we should take advantage instead of like being, oh no, I'm doing everything online. This is where, because I realize that it is hard. It is hard. I mean, online classes and online meetings and stuff. It can be hard even watching a screen so many hours. But then on the other side, we have to see how many opportunities we have, and I think the CCG really fits in this environment of digitalization of everything. Everything is changing. Companies are changing every day, and I see it in China. China is probably the countries in which everything is changing every single day. Everything is moving on. In China, they use phones for everything. They use WeChat. They pay with their phone. They buy tickets. They go to the hospital. Then they have their stuff in their phone. They have everything with the phone. Everything is digitalized, and that's why I really think that CCG, could have great potential there, and as it should have it, and it's going to have it in all the world.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, being so well cultured internationally, what else do you think that we can learn and that we can take and try to implement, that's different than our own settings? What else do you think?
Because I guess that the fact that now we are able to connect so easily with other parts of the world, it should help us like understanding things. It should help us like learning things from other, not just like other cultures, but just other environments, other situations. I learned so much, so much stuff that I that I actually implemented for example, in organizing events. I learned it from China. Like
Wow.
I had this incredible thing that, like, when I was promoting the event, I used this little setting that WeChat in China has, which is called broadcast list. That even actually, I just realized even WhatsApp has it. But like, it enabled me to send messages to different people in the same moment. Stuff that you can learn just by opening yourself to the rest of the world, and opening yourself to yeah to because in every part of the world we can learn something new. And
Mhm.
in this moment in which everything is online, I think that's a great aim that we could have.
Yeah, well said. I completely agree. Absolutely. All right, still waiting for some of those questions to roll in. If there are no questions, we'll wrap up in a couple more minutes. But yeah. So Nick, tell me more about just a little bit more about how you picked your school and your major.
Okay, so in my high school, I went to a let's say a different high school in Italy, and not the classic one. It's a scientific lyceum. That's how we call it in Italy,
Okay.
with international studies. So we studied Chinese 7 hours a week, which is a lot. and we went every year in China for 1 month to do an exam of Chinese, and and then in my fourth year of high school, because we have 5 years of high school in Italy. In my
Oh wow.
fourth year of high
Okay.
school, I went to China to study for 6 months in a Chinese high school in Shanghai, and I obviously loved it. I was like saying, I have to come back here. I want to live here my life. And then I saw this university, which is it's pretty. I mean, Duke is like a really, both Duke and Wuhan University. They're really, they've been there for so many years. But my university where I go, the joint venture, it's new. We only have juniors, sophomores, and freshmen right now. So
Oh
yeah,
wow.
it's a really really new thing. They're building a huge campus still. So
That's
it's a really new
incredible.
project, and it was incredible because you get a Duke degree, which in the States is really important. You get a degree from Wuhan, like that it's valid in China too,
Mhm.
and you learn Chinese and you live in China. So that's I thought that was amazing, and I applied to it, and thank God I had the opportunity
Wow.
to come. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You are just so independent and so driven and hardworking. It really shows, and your hard work has already paid off and will continue to,
Thank
um,
you so much.
give you so much success. I'm so happy for you. Thank you so much for meeting with me today and talking to us on our Syzygy Talk Live. It was wonderful getting to meet you and know you better.
Thank you, Claire. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm always happy to
Welcome.
help.
Of course. Of course. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining, everyone.